All right, guys, so this is a continuation of the lessons that we did in class. I'm going to do this example first because it will recap for anyone who struggled in class or was absent from class. So if we have write the equation of a line, as soon as you see that phrase, write the equation of a line, you're automatically looking for two things, right? You're playing detective. You're looking for what's the M and what's the B. Those are the two things you have to find. I always recommend putting this little box off to the side so you remember that that's what you're looking for. And once you find those two things, you can write your final answer. Okay, so this is a good way to set up your work, especially if you're having trouble with organization. So read the question. Write the equation of a line that has a slope of negative 2/3 and passes through the point negative 2, 2. Right away, we know that the slope is negative 2/3. So I'm going to fill that into my little detective box. So now I'm focused on how do I find the B value. The B value is the y-intercept, and it's always 0, comma, a number. I don't have that in the clues in my word problem. I have a point over here, but it's not 0, comma. So it's not my y-intercept. It's not my B value. To give you an idea of what this looks like, right? Don't draw this in your notes. This is just for conversation. We have the point negative 2, 2. That point is on my line, and the slope is negative. So Bob's going to be going down a hill, right? I'm just drawing a rough sketch. The question is, where does the graph hit the y-intercept? That's what I need. So my question is, what's this intersection point? Where does the graph hit the y-intercept? Now I just drew a random sketch. I didn't even count spaces here. So I don't know, maybe it's something between 0 and 1. That's what it looks like. But again, this was a very, very rough sketch. So that's what we're trying to find. Now, how do we find that point? We're going to use the formula for slope-intercept form. I know that the M is negative 2/3. I don't know the B. That's what I'm trying to figure out. X and Y in the equation is an ordered pair, X comma Y, for any point that's on the line. If you have a point that's on the line, you can put those X and Y values into this equation. So that's what we have. We have a point that's on the line, right? Passes through. That means that the line is going through the point negative 2, 2. So I'm going to plug in negative 2 for X and positive 2 for Y. So negative 2 goes in for X, positive 2 goes in for Y. Now we're going to solve for B. How do we do that? Step number 1, let's multiply those two numbers. So negative 2/3 times negative 2, that becomes 4/3. I'm going to bring everything else down. Then we have to get the B by itself. To get the B by itself, I have to get rid of the negative 4/3. So how do we get rid of the negative 4/3? We're going to subtract it. If you subtract from one side, you have to subtract from the other side. So 2 minus 4/3, right? You can use a calculator or do it by hand. It's 2/3. That's like 0.6. Remember that graph that I drew before that I just deleted, right? I thought it was somewhere in between 0 and 1, right? I was actually really close, so 2/3. I was right. So my B value is 2/3. Once you have your M and your B, you can write your final answer. And that's it. A review of standard form. If I wanted to write this in standard form, take your X and move it to the other side. In this case, I would move it to the other side by adding it to the other side. So positive 2/3 X plus Y equals 2/3. We've got a frowny face. I can't have a fraction in this. So to get rid of the fraction, I'm going to multiply everything by that denominator number, 3. When I multiply every single term by 3, the fractions disappear. So this would be my final answer in standard form. Up here, this is my final answer in slope-intercept form. How do you know which form to do? You read the question. If the question doesn't say, we just do slope-intercept form, right? If the question wants standard form, it will say standard form. All right, let's try another one. So now this is probably the most challenging question we do for right now. It has the most amount of steps. So go ahead, pause the video, copy it down, see if you can do anything on your own, and then press play again once you are like, okay, let me see if I'm doing this right. So I read the question, and automatically I'm writing m equals b equals off to the side. And it's telling me something about being perpendicular. And when I see the word perpendicular, I'm thinking opposite, reciprocal, slopes. So the slope of this line that they're saying I'm perpendicular to, the slope of this line is m equals 3. So now if I combine these two thoughts, I have a slope of 3. I know I need opposite reciprocal slope. What's my slope going to be? Well, let's make it opposite. That means make it negative, and make it a reciprocal. Flip it. So opposite reciprocal, my slope is negative 1/3. I'm going to go put that in the box. Now I need to find the b value. I don't have an ordered pair 0, comma. Bummer. So now I have to go do my algebra. I'm going to use the y equals mx plus b formula. I'm going to substitute in x for y, that doesn't make any sense, 4 for x, and 1 for y. Negative 1/3 for b. Once you guys get this perpendicular slope, it might be useful to just like kind of cross it out lightly. This way you're not tempted to use it again by mistake, right? We're done with that. So go ahead, pause the video, see if you can plug everything in and finish this problem out. Right, so I've substituted in my m, my x, my y, and I don't know what b is. I'm going to multiply negative 1/3 times 4. And then to get the b all by itself, I'm going to add 4/3 to both sides. So add, oopsies. Add 4/3, add 4/3. So b equals, okay, I need another minute, okay? So this gets us 7/3. If you want to write it as 2 1/3, that's also the same thing. All right, so I'm going to use 7/3 to be consistent with my work that I've been doing. And then we can write the equation, negative 1/3 x plus 7/3, final answer. Not yet. Mm-hmm. Right, if you wanted standard form, right, if you wanted to practice it, let's just pretend it asks for a standard form, move that over, multiply by 3, and there you go. All right, last example. Last example. Okay, so this time we're writing the equation of a line that needs, and we're given this graph. As soon as you say write the equation of a line, remember we're looking for m equals b equals, right? There's this, this black arrow with the numbers. That's showing you the slope, okay? Bob is going up a hill, so our slope will be positive. And that black little arrow there is showing you the rise over the run. So it's up 2, and run 3. And it's positive because Bob is climbing up a hill. If you want to, when you draw this on your paper, right, you can put those dots there where those arrows are pointing to. Now, the last thing we need is the B. You can kind of see where the graph is hitting the y-axis right here, but it's definitely going to be a decimal. We are not just randomly going to guess a number. We're not going to do that. I'm going to guess maybe 1/2, right? Question mark, question mark, question mark. But that's just a guess. I don't want to guess. So what you're going to do is you're going to use algebra. How do you find a b value? You use y equals mx plus b. I know that the m is 2/3. I need to put something in for x and for y, like I've been doing. What can I use for x and y? Right? I can use any point that's on the line. And if you look at your graph, we've got 2 points. This ordered pair here is 4, 3. The other ordered pair is 1, 1. So pick your favorite ordered pair, it doesn't matter which one, and plug it into the equation that we have to the right-hand side. So I'm going to use 1, 1. If you used 4, 3, you're going to get the same answer. So 2/3 times 1 is 2/3. I'm now going to subtract. 1 minus 2/3 is 1/3. So 1/3 is my b value. I was close. I guessed 1/2. I was wrong. So 1/3 is my b value, and that looks accurate. Let's say you make a mistake and by accident you add 2/3 to both sides of the equation, right? You would be thinking that your b value is 1 and 2/3. But look at your graph paper. 1 and 2/3 would be up here. That doesn't make any sense, right? It doesn't look accurate. So always make sure that your answer looks accurate if you're given a graph. If you guys just guess randomly on the quiz, you're not going to get credit for that. I need to see this work. Okay, that's a must. So now take your 2 pieces of information and we write our final answer. And that's the lesson on how to write the equation of a line given the slope and a point. Hope you guys found this helpful.